So your spouse hates your dreams. I gotta tell you, I see this all the time. You're not alone, but you don't have to stay stuck. You've got three potential solutions here. Number one, you can get a divorce. Number two, you can give up on your dreams. Or number three, you can watch this video and implement what I walk you through to get them on your side. So it doesn't have to be this adverse relationship. It doesn't have to be you versus them or them versus your dreams. Here's how to get them on your side so you're chasing your dreams together. Now, first off, why does this matter? Whether you're chasing dreams of writing and publishing a book, or chasing dreams of your business, of quitting your job, going all in on yourself, whatever that is, I've seen this play out hundreds of times, especially at selfpublishing.com. We've got people who have literally been dreaming of writing a book for years, maybe even decades. They're all in on this and they're willing to invest in themselves, but then their spouse shuts it down. And I gotta tell you, there's nothing more infuriating. I mean, this just makes my blood boil. You've got someone who you theoretically care about the most, who has this dream, has this goal. They wanna commit to it, and you tell them that they can't, right? Imagine doing that to your spouse. Imagine doing that to your kids. Right? Well, there's a reason why they're doing that, and I'm not here to make that person the villain. I'm here to walk you through 3 steps to actually get them on your side. All right? Because without spousal buy-in or partner buy-in or whatever, momentum's gonna die. And in fact, it probably never starts. So again, it doesn't matter what goal that you're chasing. You gotta be aligned on this, but how do you do that? Well, that's what we're gonna walk through in this video. Now, before we dive in, if you get value out of this video, we put a lot of work into this content. So if you can just like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment below, let me know your biggest takeaways so we can help get this video in the hands of other people who need spousal support on their dreams. So let's dive into the 3 steps. Step 1 is your vision needs to be greater than their doubt. This is a big one. If you don't nail this step, nothing else that I teach matters. Your vision has to be so strong, so clear, and so inspiring that it outweighs their fear, that it outweighs their skepticism, right? Tony Robbins has this quote I love, that's the person with the most certainty wins. So in any situation, if your vision comes up against their doubts, whichever one's bigger is gonna win. So really the first question is, how compelled are you in this vision? How convicted are you in this vision? How committed are you to this vision, right? Because if the answer is like a 3 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10, don't even bring it to them. Because what ends up happening is you have these half-baked ideas, you start to bring it to this person, and you're not convicted about it. They can smell that, they can tell that, and so they're like, yeah, I don't know, and you don't know either, right? So your vision has to be so compelling that it outweighs their doubt. So step 1, I would say wait to bring it to them until you've got a good plan, until you've got a good vision, and you're fully committed. And you gotta be really strategic about how you even bring it to this person. And I'll use just selfpublishing.com and people that work with us on their books as an example. The difference between coming to that person and saying, hey, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about this book, kind of thinking about publishing this book. I talked to this company, it's pretty expensive. I don't know, what do you think? Is that a compelling vision? No, right? But if you instead come to that person, you say, hey, as you know, I've been dreaming about this book for a really long time. Here's the vision that I have for it. Here's some things. I talked to these people at selfpublishing.com. Here's kind of some thoughts that they had. Here's where I think this could fit into what we're doing, right? Maybe you just want to do it and there's no monetary outcome. Or maybe it's, hey, I really think that this could lead to X, Y, Z. Here's my vision behind this. Here's the plan behind this. I'd really love to do it, but obviously I wanted to talk to you beforehand. Is this something you think you could support me in? What's the difference? As a high performer, as anyone with big goals, you gotta have that personal conviction and say, hey, I'm going after this for myself and I'm going after this for our family unit, and I would love your support. So it's kind of the difference between asking for permission and support. Now, obviously, I'm not encouraging you to just YOLO into ridiculous goals and put your family on the line because you're just like, hey, I'm not asking for permission, I'm asking for support, right? And so, there's kind of a tactful line that you need to walk, but you need to be sold on the dream first and foremost, and then you can sell them on the dream so that your vision is greater than their doubt. Now, step 2 is building trust through follow through. So this is where it's going to get a little bit tough for you. Are you the type of person that finishes what you start? Are you the type of person that follows through on what you say you're going to do? If the answer to either of those questions is no, I wouldn't believe you either. Imagine how many times have you broken promises? And I love the 4 Agreements. It's an awesome book, but there's a principle in there that says be impeccable with your word. And I think that the most important way that you can be impeccable with your word is first to yourself. So do you follow through on things that you say you're going to do? If I say, I'm going to take this health challenge, do you finish it? Right? If I say I'm going to pursue this goal, do you do it? If I say I'm going to meet you at X and X time to work out, do you do it? So do you have a pattern of finishing things that you start? If not, that's the biggest thing you need to go work on, is become the type of person that's worth believing in. So my question to you right here is, are you the type of person that's worth believing in? Right? So if you want belief from your spouse, you have to first build credibility by doing what you say you're going to do. Right? Now, without a track record, that skepticism is justified. Well, Chandler, there's a problem. I'm already falling into that bucket of someone who doesn't follow through. What now? Well, you got to show why this is different, right? And you got to maybe put yourself on the line, put some commitment on the line, and maybe even raise the stakes and connect this to something that they care about and say, hey, I'll tell you what, I totally get it. If I were you, I'd think, hey, you're not going to do this. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's the plan. And if I don't, here is the consequences. Are you willing to put your money where your mouth is? Maybe it's, here's the goal that I want to invest in, and if I don't follow through, I'm going to work overtime to make up the financial difference for our family. Or I'm going to sacrifice these expenses on my side to put my money where my mouth is, right? Maybe over the next few months, I'm going to cut out these things, and that's how serious I am. Or maybe there's a consequence on the other side where you say, hey, if I don't follow through, I am going to do X, Y, Z for you. Right? So then you kind of set up this win-win for your spouse, where either way they win. Either you chase the goal, you achieve the goal, they're happy, they're proud of you, it's meaningful for your family, or you miss the goal and there's still upside for them, right? So then you're kind of creating a win-win solution for them. Now, step 3, I call this the Y plus U framework, okay? So WHY plus YOU. So there's 2 parts to this. Number 1 is the why. So you got to show why this matters to you and why it's not just some passing whim. Okay, I'll give you an example of this, and I'll connect this to the you part. So when I decided to drop out of school, the big stakeholder in that decision was my parents. And so by the time I came to them with this idea, I said, hey, here's why this really matters to me. I'm tired of learning how to run a business from professors who have never ran a business. That doesn't make too much sense to me. I was actually running businesses, so C.2, I'd become the type of person who followed through on what I said I was going to do. So I'd already ran multiple businesses in high school and college, and they were doing pretty well. And I knew that I was learning more from running businesses than showing up to class to learn about business from professors who have never ran one. This is why this really matters to me. And I was talking to my parents, and they said, well, why don't you just double down and finish early? And I'd kind of thought that as well. I'm like, maybe I can just double down and get finished with college early. And when I thought about that idea, it made me miserable. And so I said, hey, if it's not worth finishing early, is it worth finishing at all? And so I said, okay, here's why this matters to me, and here's why I am likely going to be successful. And this is not just, they knew this wasn't just something that I was thinking of, right? And something that I was just upset with my professor or some external circumstance had caused me to react. It was a calculated decision and plan. And then here's where the Y plus U part, right, is the you, the YOU, you got to show 2 things. Number 1, do you care about them, and have you shown them similar investment in their goals, right? So if you think about this for your spouse, when's the last time they came to you with something that they cared about? When's the last time they came to you with, maybe it was a goal, maybe it's a thing that they wanted to pursue? How did you respond to that, and how did you support them? If it wasn't great, you need to improve that, right? And so that's kind of one piece of that you part. But then the other piece is you've got to show how this impacts them in a positive way. There's this saying, you've probably heard of it, is everyone's tuned into one radio station and one radio station only, and that's WIIFM. What's in it for me? And so you got to show how this affects them, right? And think through that, because that's what you do if they brought this goal to you, right? And so jumping back into that story with my parents, I said, hey, I want to drop out of school. Okay, this is not just something that I'm thinking about. This is something that I'm doing. And I realized that the consequence, they were covering the cost above scholarships for my tuition. And so I'd gotten a bunch of scholarships, so there wasn't a ton that they had to make up, but they were covering that. And if I dropped out of school, I would lose my scholarships. And so I said, hey, Here's the worst case scenario is this doesn't work. I come back to school and I will cover the cost. So if I come back to school, they're not going to be on the hook for the full bill. That'll be me. But then I did another thing, which is a really kind of fundamental sales technique. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called the puppy dog close. And so I really recommend if you're trying to get your spouse enrolled, use the puppy dog close. Okay, so the puppy dog close says, it's basically making it reversible. There was a pet store that was trying to do a better job of selling puppies, and they finally figured out that if they just changed the way that they sold. So instead of, are you buying a puppy or are you not, they changed it to where you could just take a puppy home for, I think it was a week or a month or something like that. And if you don't like it, you just bring it back. If you don't like it, just take it. So you made it reversible. So now you've removed the downside. So then people would say, okay, hey, let's just bring it home. And if we don't like the puppy, we can bring it back. How many of those people do you think brought back that puppy? 0, right? So the puppy dog close is one of the most powerful techniques to get anyone to say yes to anything is you make it reversible. So implement the Y plus U framework. So why does this matter? Why are you so passionate about this? And maybe even for some of you who haven't followed through, why is this going to be different? And then the U part, how does this affect you? So them when you pursue these goals. So to wrap up here, you don't need their buy-in on day one. Right? Maybe you puppy dog close it, or maybe you just get enough of a yes that you can keep moving forward, but you can earn it over time by showing clarity, by showing consistency, and by showing care. Okay, and this is the big thing that I really want to emphasize as we close out this video, is it's not about them, it's about you. Okay, because if you're committed, if you're focused, if you follow through, they will not doubt you. Right? You got to remove all doubt through your action, through your consistency, and through the way that you show up on these goals. All right? So instead of pointing the finger elsewhere, instead of pointing the finger at, oh yeah, here we go again, here's this person that's just dogging on all my ideas, look in the mirror and say, am I the type of person worth believing in? Am I the type of person worth investing in? And am I the type of person worth doubling down on? And if you're not, none of the tactics that I taught you are going to matter. You got to level up yourself, so don't blame your spouse, don't blame somebody else. Look at yourself in the mirror and get better. So I hope that this is helpful. This applies to any dream that you're chasing. This applies to any decision maker, whether it's a spouse, whether it's your parents, anyone. So I hope that you love this video. If you did, click the like button, click the subscribe button to this channel, and then comment below and let me know your biggest takeaway. All right, maybe I'm going to be hearing from the spouses in the comment section over here. But if you enjoyed this or if you hated it, comment, let me know. I read and reply to every single comment, and we put a lot of work into these videos. So if you're enjoying these videos, subscribe to the channel and check out a next video on this channel to scale faster with your business or to achieve your biggest goals. I'll see you in the next video.